Hey guys, Tisha here, and I'm doing something a little different, you guys. We're gonna see how this goes. This is my first ever review for Basketball Wives. I'm not doing LA because I don't care for all the shenanigans that went on in LA, and I have not watched it since like Tammy left. So we're gonna make an attempt to review Orlando. Now, this review is gonna be all over the place because I got to kind of get my footing on how I want to approach this, but just bear with me. And as long as you all watch, I will keep doing it. So, I want to begin the review by saying that if we were going to call this Basketball Wives, I feel like the show needs to start having more wives because the only person who currently is a wife is somebody that I don't care for already. Like, I can tell I'm not going to care for her just because of her antics. And I feel like she feels like she's better than the other ladies because she's surrounded by women who aren't wives. We begin this episode with Megan James, who is wanting a fresh start. We know that she has a podcast that gets over 100,000 views weekly, and she's trying to grow her brand. She's been linked to players, agents, and even a referee or two. She's not going to be dropping any names because she says that that's how she's able to keep her money. So Megan is okay with being labeled as a gold digger. Basically, the way that she introduced herself, this is how she introduced herself. Anyways, she sits down with Shawnee and she tells her that she wants a fresh start. Shawnee recommends her getting to know some of the ladies, more like the ones of her age group, because Shawnee was there years ago and she may not gel with Shawnee's friends. She told her to make sure that one of the things that she does is she stays neutral because with her being the new girl, she needs to learn the dynamic. We see her eventually sit down and send a message to all the ladies that she's going to have a brunch. We then meet Ashley Snell, who, as I said earlier, can tell I'm not going to like. We find out she made her first million at the age of 28. She has a collection in a store in Winter Park. According to her, Winter Park is for the upper class, the upper echelon of people. She's married to Tony Snell, and they have two boys together. We then meet Morgan Bledsoe, who surprisingly I ended up liking by the end of this episode. I'm still a little nervous that she's going to do too much, but I'm already appreciating what she's giving to the show because she actually has a storyline that I want to see play out more, to the point where I found myself trying to do a little bit of research because there's a lot of mess that surrounds her and her ex-husband. Well, mainly her ex-husband. We find out that Morgan was married to former NBA guard Eric Bledsoe. They have 3 children together. I believe they were ages 12 down to a soon-to-be 4-year-old. She lets us know that she's in Orlando looking for a location that could be a beauty school and salon suites for her brand More by Morgan. I want to know when they got a divorce, when her and her ex-husband got a divorce, because as we watched this episode, some things seemed really fresh for Morgan. So I just want to know. Morgan does not live in Orlando, but they're here for the summer with hopes, depending on how things go, how her relationships go with friends, what she ends up finding while she's looking for this location. She's hoping to stay there. See Morgan sitting poolside with her mom, who I like. I like their dynamic. And she's basically speaking about, how she's glad her mom is there. Her mom says, I can't be here all the time because I have other grandchildren too that I got to check on, but I'm here for you as much as I can be. As she's speaking with her mother, she mentions how things have gone downhill with her and Ashley, that although her and Ashley were once close, that Ashley broke the basketball wives code that they all live by. Long story short, Ashley was bringing her female friends around Morgan's husband to sleep with him and other players as well. Morgan believes that this assisted in him cheating on her. A man's going to do what a man's going to do. A person's going to do what a person's going to do. If a person wants to cheat, it doesn't matter how they're gonna do it, but I could understand why, if Morgan and Ashley were supposed to be friends, why Morgan would be upset with the fact that Ashley did that. We then get a flashback of her saying that, and by her I mean Ashley, that her friends didn't try to have sex with him, but that he did try to contact her friends. And I'm looking like, okay, the only way that he would be able to contact her friends is if he was given their information by Ashley, or if he sought them out on social media and linked in their DMs. Either way, it sounds sketchy, and it does sound like Ashley did have something to do with it. Morgan's mom lets her know that if you don't have anything good to say in terms of what's going to happen at this brunch and when you're around Ashley, then don't say anything. Just nod and say, mm-hmm. We then see the ladies at brunch, and for some reason, Ashley brought a +1. I think her name was Parney. I don't want to keep saying it wrong, so we'll just call her the +1. She sees Morgan sitting there and she chooses to go to the bar. We then meet Neek Brown, who is the girlfriend of Dwayne Bacon, a former NBA small forward. I'll add that of all of these men that we're seeing pictures of and that I've looked up, that he is the finest of the bunch. That chocolate, that smile, those tattoos, Neek has herself a beautiful man. Neek is a content creator with almost 4 million followers. I'll be honest, what got me to watch this was because I started watching her YouTube channel a little bit. I know that my son used to watch her in the past when she used to do pranks and stuff with her ex-boyfriend, and I come in here and there, but I'm seeing a different side of her now that she seems to be in this relationship with this guy who seems to be a lot more introverted in some aspects and doesn't want to be in the limelight as much. And I just like their dynamic. She's been dating her now boyfriend Dwayne for 2 years, and he has 2 kids with Mackenzie, who Neek says is supposed to be at the lunch today also. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I don't like Mackenzie at all. I feel like if you followed Neek, you would know that at one point Mackenzie got mad, and Mackenzie decided that she was gonna blast Dwayne and Neek, putting out some posts on Instagram basically alluding to the fact that Dwayne was cheating on her with Neek. Since then, it was clarified through their podcast that they did on YouTube. I watched an episode a few weeks back where they all sat down, and it was basically said that there was never any overlap with them, that Dwayne and his children's mom, Mackenzie, they had a lot of off and on periods. And during one of the times that they were off, he and Neek were interacting. She came back into the picture. He dropped Neek. Then after he was finally like done with her, him and Neek resumed things, and Neek wasn't aware of all of that. So here we are now, and we're seeing them try to, be better than how they were last summer, because now we're hearing that they came to an understanding and that everything should be good. So then we see Mackenzie walk in, and Mackenzie, who is Dwayne's former girlfriend, is now the girlfriend of Rashad Vaughn, and he is a former NBA shooting guard. This is about to get really messy because, as we can see in upcoming episodes, his children's mother, I don't know how many kids he has, is going to be on this show too. So, because of this show, Neek and Mackenzie now live 3 houses down from one another. If you follow Neek, you know that Neek lives in Houston, that Dwayne also lives there when he's not overseas, because he was playing basketball overseas for I think the last couple of seasons. We then see that Megan arrives, asks all the ladies to come and sit. Megan only knows Nick and Mulan is not there because she was out of town. And she explains to the ladies, you know, what she's doing in town, what she hopes to gain. Ashley is at the bar talking about Morgan wanting to be all tough and how it's a joke. Morgan says Ashley lives in a fake world and everything about her is fake. Megan, what did I write? I don't even know what I was writing. I said something about Megan. Oh, Megan and I'm not going to restart this because I don't even know what I was trying to say. And I just had a complete blank. I think I was trying to say that as they're talking, that Megan is asking Nick about, you know, what she thinks the issues are. And Nick is saying that she's cool with the both of them. So she's not going to try to get in the middle of whatever it is they got going on. I know that's right. I wouldn't be getting in the middle of it either. We see Morgan and Ashley get into it again because Morgan wants to know why Ashley's friend keeps looking at her like she's crazy. The friend claims to not know her, but it's obvious that she did know her because at one point they made some cheers about gutter rats and whatever else and positive energy. And then the remark that was made by Ashley making comments about Morgan when she came to the bar. So things were being said about Morgan. Your friend was looking at Morgan probably while you were talking about her, whether she realized she was doing it or not. I don't think Morgan is just making it up. There's a lot of hand grabbing and hands in the face, but nothing comes of it. Ashley lets Morgan know that she feels like her life is a joke. And Morgan says, and yours is a facade. As Morgan is walking away, she says, that's Morgan the divorcee. And that is just another reason that I don't like Ashley. I think it's clear that Ashley feels like she's better than the other ladies because she's married. It's the next day, and Nick meets up with Mulan outside at the basketball court. Nick thinks it's too hot and it's too sunny, and I'm with Nick. We find out that Mulan is a college athlete and a content creator who has a very heavy looking butt. I'm sorry. I don't like to body shame people. I don't like to talk about certain things. But as she was dribbling that ball, I just kept looking at how heavy everything looked. And I'm trying to picture her running around the court with all of that. It seems like it would be a bit much. She is the ex-girlfriend of a BB Bobo, something with two B's. And he's currently an NBA center. Nick tells her about what happened with Ashley and Morgan, but she doesn't go into too much detail. She just says that they got into it. We hear again about the girl at the bar. Then Morgan comes. They talk because Morgan's filling her in. Morgan lets us know that because Mackenzie is friends with Ashley, she's going to have to watch Mackenzie. The only thing that I'm going to say about Ashley, because we get to this clip of Ashley and her husband meeting up, and the only thing that I'm going to say about that whole clip was that was just an opportunity for both her and her husband to shade the other women, because one of the comments he made was something along the lines of, at least she has someone to vent to, unlike the other girls. And my thoughts were, excuse me, sir, just because the rest of the women aren't wives doesn't mean that they don't have someone to vent to. You're not in a position where you can even talk like that. We then see Mackenzie dropping off her son at Nick and Dwayne's Airbnb, because as I said, they don't live there. She talks about how he doesn't spend a lot of time with the kids because he's busy. she's leaving out the part that she wasn't allowing him to see his kids and she didn't want his kids around Neek. See, what they aren't saying is that Dwayne ended up going to court not only for child support, but to try to get more rights as far as custody is concerned, because she was being difficult. They barely were interacting and things of that nature. So for her to just say like he wasn't there, come on now, girl. She asked Neek to come outside. She says she wants everything to be okay. She just wanted to know if Neek had anything else that she wanted to address. Neek says that she doesn't like the fact that she was taking out all her anger on her when it had nothing to do with her. She's not a home wrecker. She didn't understand all the ins and outs of what they had going on, and she didn't like how she treated her. Mackenzie tries to make it seem like they were together at the time. But as I said before, if you watch the most recent episode on Neek's channel, they clarified all of that, and he was not with Mackenzie. It might have been close in time, but he says that there was no overlap, and he said it with both of the ladies sitting right there. They agreed to respect each other and do better because Neek wants to be to the point where they can blend their families very well together, and that's the end of that. It's a new day. The ladies meet up for the Rained Out Golf event. Everyone comes but Ashley. Neek is happy that it got rained out because she didn't want to be outside in the heat or in the sun in the first place. Megan walks in with Nikki from Black Ink Crew. I never realized just how solid Nikki was. That's a stat girl. Like I knew she was thick, but she got height and all of that. The young lady who's pregnant, I can't remember how she's related to the NBA because they flash it so quickly. Her name is Lindsay. Says that this is a big group and there are a lot of little groups and there's a lot of stuff being said. So she just wants them to put everything out there. As Megan begins to say something to Mackenzie, Lindsay interrupts her and asks Megan if she's going to say something to Morgan. Megan didn't want to say it at that point, but because Lindsay said something, Megan lets Morgan know that she used to date Eric. Megan says she went on like 2 group dates with him. They didn't have any type of sex and it wasn't that serious, but she was going to tell her. She just didn't want to do it in a group setting. I'm not sure if Megan and him did have just group dates, because you're saying that you had dates in a group setting and no one knew about it later on, but obviously someone knew something about it because Morgan already knew. And I don't think it was just Ashley. Morgan takes a long pause, but she says she learned about everything in her divorce. She knew that she dated him. She didn't know whether or not they had sex, and she's not upset. She welcomes her to Orlando. Megan brings up what's going on with Ashley and her, and Morgan's basically like, F Ashley. Morgan says that she was cool with her until she brought females around her husband. Mackenzie lets it be known that she feels uncomfortable with this situation. Mulan says that she used to have certain thoughts about Morgan until she saw firsthand what Ashley can do. She was cool with Ashley until Ashley befriended one of Mulan's enemies, which makes me wonder if the same thing that happened to Mulan happened to Morgan or vice versa, because I think that Mulan has children with her ex. I'm not sure. It's sad that it took her being in the same predicament as Morgan in order to realize that no one's safe. Those are her words. Mackenzie asks if she's the only one at the table who's friends with Ashley. All the ladies look at each other. Morgan says clearly. Now, earlier, Neek told us that she's friends with the both of them. So even though nobody else spoke up, some people seem to be cordial with her. Mackenzie says that she wants to go to the bathroom because she feels uncomfortable with them talking about Ashley without Ashley being there. Morgan says you don't need to go to the bathroom because clearly you don't feel uncomfortable when she's talking about me. Mackenzie feels like next time if they do this, Ashley should be there. And Morgan says she was invited. Megan then talks to Mackenzie about how she also heard about this situation from Mackenzie. Mackenzie brought it up to her and they show a flashback wanting to know about her and Eric. And she said, no one knew about me and Eric. That there has to be some truth to all of this because she knows for a fact that Ashley probably told Mackenzie. She also knows for a fact that Ashley speaks on the phone all the time with his current girlfriend. Now, what I need you all to know, whether they're going to show us or not, that the current girlfriend allegedly filed charges against him for DV. Morgan wants to know why Ashley is so worried about talking to other men rather than focusing in on her husband, whereas her husband, Mackenzie, doesn't think that this whole dinner should be about Morgan and her sob story that she has with Ashley. Mackenzie has a nerve, because this is the same person who came to the internet to give us her sob story about what happened with her and her children's father, and she wasn't even married or engaged to her children's father. So what's the difference? At least Morgan was married and created a home and a family with her children's father. Here you are acting like none of what you did before ever happened. Interesting. Morgan then says, if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to stay. If you don't want to listen, the doors are right there. That's the end of that scene. Ashley and Morgan meet up for dinner. Ashley feels like they're going to have to coexist, or one of them is going to have to go. As far as I'm concerned, it could be Ashley. Morgan starts by saying, is there something that you want to say? Ashley says she doesn't have anything to say. Morgan says, you have so much to say to Eric. She says, I don't talk to Eric. I talk to Brianna. Brianna is the same person that I told you all about earlier. She says that she communicates with Brianna because it's her way of getting to the bottom to Morgan's bull. Of course, she doesn't say that in Morgan's face. She says it in the confessional. I don't understand why she's so worried about Morgan and what Morgan has going on. Morgan then says, do you talk to him? She says, sure. Morgan calls her a snake-ass bee and says how she was there for her, even when the other ladies didn't like her in Milwaukee. She ends up walking out because Morgan told her to shut the F up and listen. Morgan follows her to the vehicle and tells her that men and children are off limits. She says she'll leave that alone, and Morgan says, you'll leave us alone. That's the end. This show is going to have a lot of drama. Sorry this review is all over the place. I'm getting distracted by all the things that are going on. I will do better next time. Just let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys think that this is going to be a good season? Do you want me to do more? Until next time.